Okay, yeah, welcome back. Yeah, just to summarise on what we've sort of covered already, it'd be good to know where the sort of the stream of money, where the money goes. Okay, so we start with our track that we're going to release, and how some actual income and revenue streams come back into your own pocket. Okay, so relatively low cost to get that record out there as a digital track, and obviously we don't need to be making any physical copies, so relatively low outlay in terms of financial spends that you're going to need to do. But how does the money come back from sales? So if I could throw this over to one of you guys on how, you know, how it ends up being spent down the pub on Friday.
On a 79p download, how much do you reckon, as of the record label, you would get back from iTunes on that? 10p. Any advances on 10p? Anything less or more than 10p? No? On a 79 pence download, iTunes will pay the label or the distributor 49p. Which so the 30p difference is going to be their profit, because obviously they've got massive servers to keep going. Admin costs and stuff. They also pay PRS out of that as well. So they'll pay the PRS direct out. Unlike physical copies, where if you make 1,000 CDs, you've got to then pay the MCPS the royalty for using that, for using their services. The digital thing is a lot easier. They'll just pay it direct. We'll get into the PRS thing and MCPS thing at some point, because it just melts my brain every time I think about it. So iTunes will pay that, or the digital retailer will pay
all
that
the
direct to the songwriter. So out of that 49p, you've then got to take off, if it's a European sale, you have to take off VAT, which is 20%, and the distribution fee, whichever aggregator you're using, will come off that as well, and then you get what's left in the pockets. It's a lot more than most people think, to be honest with you.
But then that money is split between the label and the artist as well.
Yeah.
That's why it's always beneficial for you as artists to be a member of PRS, because that PRS payment is actually...
I always say, if you're an artist, PPL, you've got to be a member of PPL and MCPS, because you not only get... Does everyone know the difference between MCPS and PPL? I'm going to take that as a no. Hands up who knows the difference. Anyone can answer?
I keep forgetting because they're all just letters.
Do you know what? I feel exactly the same. Yes, fella.
Is that one to do with recording rights and album rights and performance?
Yes.
Along the right lines.
Yeah, along the right lines. Yeah, the MCPS basically collect monies on behalf of the songwriter, the author of the work. PPL collect monies on behalf of the performer. So if you're in a band that writes your own material, then PRS, the MCPS, PRS, will make a payment, and so will PPL. If that makes sense.
PPL also collect a performance for labels as well.
They do, yeah. So if you're a label, if you're a band who've got their own label, then you're going to get payments.
Yeah, you'll get paid as the songwriter, you'll get paid as the performer if you play keyboards or guitars, or the singer, and you'll get paid as the label as well.
As well as that, what was I going to say? Is that it? I think that's it, isn't it? So if you're a band who does a cover version, you'll get payment from the PPL for performing the track, but Elvis or Presley or whoever else wrote the track will get the MCPS payment. Does that make sense? You may have to kind of think about this for a few more days. Cause
if PRS come into the fray, Elvis will get paid from PRS as well, performance.
Yeah. You may have to think about this for a little bit longer, because it took me about a year to get my head around this, because it's, as you say, it's just letters.
They're the same company now, aren't they? They merged.
They've merged, so they kind of... PRS historically used to be just for live performances, didn't it?
Yeah.
So if you did a gig, PRS would be paying you for...
Yeah.
If you did a gig
you'll
here,
see in a shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you go in a clothes shop and they're playing music, they'll have a sticker that says they're licensed by PRS. So if you're playing music in a public place, they have to pay PRS.
Every commercial outlet, so every store, restaurant, shopping centre,
anywhere that's playing.
Anywhere.
Yeah. And if you're a band playing down here,
DBS.
If you're playing down here at DBS Live would have to fill out a PRS form for your performance down here. Does that make sense?
So basically, the venue pays a yearly licence fee to PRS all that money from every single commercial outlet is put into a pot and then divided up amongst the 90,000 members that are.
Yeah, how it's
PRS
divided
members.
is another
There's
subject.
another subject, yeah.
I don't even think about that.
Yeah.
So a mate of mine's band supported Muse when they played Newton Abbot a few years back. There was thousands and thousands of people there, and because they base it on how many ticket sales there are, then they got $3,000 or something ridiculous like that. Whereas if they played to 10 people, it would have been 5 or something. So if you're playing festivals, big events, that sort of thing, you're going to get more money. But essentially, the PRS and MCPS have now merged. So think of them as one entity, and then the PPL are for the performing side of things.
It is a good example. I did it just the standard kind of house track, and the BBC picked it up and used it for the Olympics, for their Olympics coverage in 2004 or 2005, and the payments I got back on that just from the BBC far outweighed the record sales. I mean, probably ended up with, I don't know what it was exactly, but you're talking 20 or 30 grand just from the BBC using it, running it in the background when the announcers were talking. It was just. So there's a lot of money out there.
Well, this is the positives. You know, it is like Grant. We were just talking outside. You know, it may seem like a doom and gloom from a sales point of view, but it's not all about sales. You know, it's the other royalties that you can get as artists. From your music being played on radio stations, you know, commercial outlets, synchronisation, you know, third-party compilations, everything. You know, there's
a lot of money in video games. I had a track on one of those. What's that dancing thing where you have to dance? I don't know what it's called. No, it's the one that was in the arcades.
Oh yeah.
You know, the one with the screen and you have to dance on the stage. I had a track, just some proper. Don't mind admitting this, camera off, shit hardcore record I did years ago. Got picked up for one of those by Namco, the company making the game, and that generated a lot of money, crazy money. If I'd known that was the kind of money I was going to make making that, I'd have been making that music all day long.
So if you think as a record company is controlling the sales side of things, the publishing company is the one that's going to control everything else, all the stuff we've been talking about, syncs and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean...
Well, you can control that yourself.
You can control it.
You don't need a publisher, but you know, we can talk about publishing in a minute. But you know, PRS, you know, I to every single one of you, I would say, if you're going to put music out there, even if it's on SoundCloud or anything, just be a PRS member. You know, there's possible royalties that will come back to
and
you.
it will surprise you as well, because the money just goes straight into your bank account, and it's just a lovely surprise every time it turns up, because you're not expecting it.
No.
And it's just.
And even as a record label, I mean, some of my bands play on radio and do better than others, but as a record label, you get a nice little earn every year. Do you know what I mean? Of stuff. How much did you get to play on Radio 1? What is it, 60 quid? Something like that?
It was £70 a minute. I think it's a lot more now. I think it's about 90 to 100 now.
Yeah, and although they take samples and things like that of kind of playlists and things like that, there's money to be made in it, which is why publishing companies exist and kind of try to take a cut.
If you get one digital download, so would the MCPS get about 8% of that? Am I right in thinking?
I think it's 8%.
Yeah, I think it's about 8%. Yeah.
One of the interesting things as well, which is quite relevant to us now, is like with Mixcloud. You know Mixcloud. So if you're uploading mixtapes to Mixcloud, they provide royalties to the PRS. So all of those playlists that go up there when they're named, they've got an automated system that will go back into the pot. So it's another revenue stream again, which is quite current and it's it's quite kicking the Mixcloud side of things.